Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at Deluxe Class Thunderhowl from Transformers Bumblebee Cyberverse Adventures. This is the final figure in this Build-A-Figure wave, so we'll have Macadam all done by the time we're done this review. Very excited about that. I think it's kind of weird that he only comes with the head. RC came with 2 shoulders and a weapon, which seems like a lot. I guess it must have to do with the overall bulk of the figure and the other accessories he comes with. I don't know. In any case, here is a completed Macadam on the side over here. That's what ours will look like momentarily. Kind of a standard Autobot group shot on this side. Not too much going on the top or bottom. If we spin it around to the back, you can see robot mode. I'm assuming he's a wolf, right? Wolf mode. And then here, I guess, is an animation still of him in wolf mode, which looks pretty cool. Lightning Blast. And then you can see the other figures that were in the wave. Now, we heard teases of a second wave, but I don't know if that's happening still. I mean, the show was over, but then I thought I heard that it was getting like a movie or something. That's good, like a direct-to-TV movie, I guess, to wrap it up or some. I'm not really sure. I don't know. So I don't know if more figures are coming or they're just waiting to coincide with that movie. Time will tell. So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be the only wave of Build-A-Figure Deluxes we get. It's very possible. But there may be more. We'll have to wait and see. In any case, I think this guy looks pretty cool. Let's go ahead and get him out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. So here is Thunderhowl out of the packaging. I think he looks pretty good. Color scheme's nice. Paint applications look good. I like the head sculpt. It's pretty basic. I mean, it's just his bright yellow eyes, and then he doesn't even really have much of a face mask. Just kind of like a thin strip. But the head crest is painted nicely. Overall, the head's painted nicely. Wolf head, I think, looks really good. Autobot symbol there on the front looks great. Very nice and sharp. Got some silver paint here on his shoulder spikes, forearm, kneecaps, a little bit of gold paint as well. Overall, pretty cool. He's got a little bit of a backpack, but it really just kind of comes off as like a cape. So, I think it works. Not bad. Let's see, articulation-wise, head can go from side to side, not really any back to front, just kind of side to side. You kind of have a butterfly joint here in the shoulder, and it's really more for the transformation, but you can get a little bit of use out of it here in the robot mode. Ball joint there in the shoulder. Now, these shoulder pads do swivel around on this piece, but then you also have the bicep swivel underneath it. So, kind of 2 swivels going on there. 90 degrees in the elbow. You actually have a ball joint in the wrist. You're going to get mostly side-to-side movement out of it, but you can go back. And I'm wondering if that will work out for the shield. I'm going to try that out in a minute, but nothing in the waist. You have a ball joint in the hip. And again, very similar thing here for the thigh swivel where you have this skirt piece that can kind of swivel there, and then you also have the thigh swivel underneath that, so very similar to how the shoulder is going on. With the knees, he's got kind of like ratcheting knees. This one's a little loose, but over here especially, like you bend it once and you're in that like spot, then this spot, so it's a really tight ratchet, and it just makes it weird to try to pose him, because like I either have to pose it with this knee at that angle or at this angle. I can't just bend it a little bit, so like it makes trying to get him to stand a little awkward, and plus you can't really go back because you have all this like cape piece hanging back here. So I don't know, like I said, this one's a little bit looser. But it still makes it a little bit awkward. Plus, he's got this backwards like shin joint because of the wolf mode, and then he's got a ball joint in the ankle. So, just getting him to stand is a little awkward. It's not terrible, but like if I wanted to kind of bend him at the knee, I have to almost have him like. I mean, I guess I could do that because then the the cape pieces would make him completely stand because it would just rest on them. But I don't know. I don't really like the look of that, so it's a shame. Just him standing is a little awkward. You can get it to work, but I don't know, it's just not perfect. But overall, I think the robot mode looks pretty good. He does have a couple accessories here. He's got this big piece for a shield. Now, if you want, you can just put it on the back. You can see that this peg goes into this peg hole here. So if you want to just completely store it on his back, you can. You can peg it into the forearm. I wanted to peg it this way, but it doesn't really work, but you can peg it this way. So if you want that to peg into his forearm, you can do that. You can have him hold it in his hand, which I think looks a little weird, but I was just thinking if I guess with the, you can have it at a decent angle if you bend the wristed down like that. So that actually kind of works. But his coolest accessory is his sword. So he's got a little sword here, and it's got kind of a wolf head on the hilt, which is very reminiscent of the way you can peg the wolf head from the chest onto the sword with the Ultra Class figure. But he comes with an effect piece, and you just slide the sword into it, and then it looks like the sword has like a lightning effect. That's really cool. I think that's really neat. They're finally carrying these over to... I mean, I guess every one of them has had an effect piece, now that I think about it. But they've always just been like, you know, blasts coming out of a gun. And, I don't know, I just think this one's a lot cooler. So, this wins coolest effect piece in my mind. But yeah, so he looks pretty good with the sword and shield. I think that works. Very, very neat. And then, of course, we do have the Macadam head, which we'll get to a little bit later on. But yeah, overall, I really like this. I think he looks cool. I like the effect piece. I like the shield. The robot mode's good. Like I said, you just have to make sure you get a good pose with the legs, because they're a little awkward. But for the most part, they're cool. And then just for fun, here he is alongside the Ultra Class figure. You can see the Ultra Class figure is a completely different shade of green. And I would say about 1.5 inches to 2 inches taller. I think I kind of like this one better. I just like the color scheme more. But look how different the face sculpts are. He's actually got a full-on face sculpt with eyes, nose, mouth. And then he's got just eyes and then like a... I mean, this is, I feel like, more knight-like. This head seems more like a knight's helmet to me, and I think that's what they were going for. So I just think it's funny, like, how completely different... And, you know, it's two different size classes, but it's supposed to be the same character. And I would almost say that they're completely different figures. It almost makes me want to, like, make up a headcanon where there's just, like, a group of Wolf Knight Autobots. And, you know, they just form, like, a subgroup. And, like, you know, the Autobots just call upon them whenever they need something protected. It's like, okay, get us the group of Wolf Knight Autobots. Because they almost could be two completely separate characters that just both happen to be knights that turn into wolves, honestly, because I really think they look different enough that you could make these two separate characters. So that's going to be my headcanon. I think they're just a sect of wolf knight Autobots, because hey, that's fun. But let's go ahead and get into this transformation, because it's actually really cool. Alright, so I've gone ahead and removed the sword and shield. You can start by just kind of like unpegging this and lifting this up a little bit. You're going to take these two shoulder pieces and put them over the head like so. And then you can kind of lift up the wolf head, and this whole section kind of lifts up. This is actually going to drop. I guess we can do this now. This comes up and drops over that. And then the double jointed section here for the wolf head will make it so that this can come all the way up and fit in there as well. So that kind of collapses that all up, and then you just kind of leave this here for now. You're going to switch these around to the front, like so. You're going to lift these up just a little bit, just to kind of get them ready. You're going to, basically, this entire middle piece is going to break apart. I guess it's easier if you do it all together like that. Then these sections here at the waist are going to pull down. So pull these down, and you'll hear them kind of click into place when they need to stop. Then you can swivel these around to the front. Then you're going to come around to here. You can move this up. If you would like, you can take the sword. You have to remove the effect piece. But you can rest the sword in here. Right here. You can see that there's kind of like a little ridge for it. Let me get it out of there so you can actually see what I'm talking about. You can see right here where it kind of like it contours. So you could go ahead, put this in here. It doesn't really like snap in place or anything. But as you close that up, then you'll tab all of this together. And then the sword's inside. So that's cool. You're going to come to this part here. And this part's a little tricky in the directions. So right here, this actually opens up like that. And then you're going to bring this up, and then this will tab in right here. So this kind of goes up like this and tabs in there like that. So we're going to flip this part out, then lift this up. You can use the butterfly joint to bring these down and get these out of the way because they're casting quite a bit of shadow here. So let's get them out of the way. All right, so then this will go up and that will tab in there. At this point, you're just going to kind of bring these down, bring that down. Just kind of situate the wolf legs in the back here like this. Let me zoom out just a smidge. Situate this. Okay, then you can bring the arms down in the front. Rotate the wrist ever so slightly. And then this is going to come up, and you can see that there's like tiny little tabs right here and here, and they're going to tab in right there. So bring this up, make sure it's all lined up straight. That's going to tab in. Do I have this all the way? I think so. That should go up, and then this will come down and kind of just like loosely tab in there. Just kind of press down to solidify that. And then it's pretty much done. You can open up the wolf mouth. And then you're going to take the shield piece and peg this on here. And then there you go. There is your wolf mode. And I think that's pretty cool. It's a really fun transformation. It's really not too difficult. Everything lines up fairly decently. It takes a second. Like the first time I was doing it, I was utterly confused because the directions are not great. But then once I figured out that second piece that folds down in the waist area, everything else just matched up and it was great. So it's a really cool wolf mode. I like it quite a bit. The other thing is you can take the effect piece from the sword and put that in his mouth. So it looks like he is breathing fire, which is very cool. So I like that. I mean, by putting the effect piece in his mouth, that pretty much makes everything store somewhere in the wolf mode. You have the sword and shield in the chest area, back area, whatever you want to call it. The tail looks good, I think. It's not a loose, flimsy piece. I mean, I feel like with wolf or, you know, quadruped animals, you're always going to have some kind of form of animal falls forward. You know, arms and legs become other arms and or all legs in this mode. But I think this one did it pretty well. And I like the look of it. Very neat. I'm going to zoom out here real quick and bring in the Ultra Class again. I mean, even in wolf mode, I feel like they look completely different. He's got the cape going here. Again, the color scheme is so different. The wolf head designs are different. It really feels like it could be two separate characters to me. And again, I think I like this wolf mode better. It just feels a little bit more cohesive. Proportions seem a little better. But I still like this one. I just think this one's better. I mean, it makes sense. It's Deluxe versus Ultra. This transformation is definitely much more simplistic. But yeah, I really like the look of this wolf mode. It's really, I mean, putting that shield on the back just brings the whole thing together and just makes it feel so cohesive and solid. I really, really like the look of it. But now it's time to fully finish off our Macadam figure. Should be very simple. Just go ahead and peg on the head. There we go. Got that going. It's kind of harder to snap on than you would think, honestly. But there he is. Macadam, fully realized in all his glory. I still don't love the way they did. I think this is so weird, the way they did the elbows. At least you can rotate the wrist if you want them to, you know, look like that. I just think it's a weird choice. I would have loved if they just did it the other way, but I guess it would have cut into this, but I would have been okay with it. But here he is, Macadam. Not bad, not amazing. Decent little foray into the Build-A-Figure for Transformers, something they don't usually do. I think it's kind of funny that the Build-A-Figure would make a lot more sense with the Red series that they're doing now, because those all don't transform. but instead they did it with Cyberverse to give us this non-transforming Macadam, and I don't think they're doing Build-A-Figure pieces in the Red series, so it's a weird choice. But overall, I think it's fun. I think this is a character that they otherwise would not have made a figure of, because, you know, he was in the show and he was a decent part of the show, but we never saw his alt mode. I think one time they did have like he transformed into something off camera, but that you could see them all looking at it and they all freaked out, which was kind of hilarious. But it's I like having a figure of this guy. I just I don't know. I guess Build-A-Figure is a good way to do it, because otherwise it would have been like if he came with a playset or something. You know what I mean? There's no way to just make a Transformer of him. And you couldn't just sell this on its own. I don't think people would buy it. But yeah, so you got ball-jointed head, ball-jointed shoulder, ball-jointed elbow, wrist rotation, ball joint there in the torso, ball joint in the hip, ball joint in the knee, and then ankles and everything are solid. So yeah, and I like the hammer. I do like that they gave him the hammer. I think that works. So overall, I think he's good. I think the paint applications are good. Articulation's decent. Obviously, he has no transformation, so cool little figure. I'm glad I have him. I would be bummed if I only had, like, you know, an arm or a leg or something. I'm glad I got the whole line so that I got the whole Macadam, because he does look cool. So, very pleased with him. I think Thunderhowl's great. I honestly love him a lot more than I expected to. I always thought I'd like it, but I don't know. It's just something about the way the transformation is and how solid the wolf mode is. I really think they did a great job with this. Color scheme's great. Articulation's good. Legs are a little wonky in robot mode. I just think that's one of those situations where they had to do something for those legs in the wolf mode, and because of that, the robot mode legs suffer slightly. It's not a huge problem. You just kind of have to make sure you find a pose that he can stand in. But it's, you know, you don't have, I feel like you don't have full range in the knees because they kind of click to different spots instead of being completely fluid. So it's not a huge problem. It's, for me, it's not 100% there. But overall, I really like him. Like I said, really looks good. Really like the wolf mode, even more than I thought I would. I guess maybe I was a little biased having dealt with the Ultra Class figure at first, because that wolf mode is definitely a little bit wonkier. But this just makes a really solid figure in both modes, and I love everything about it. Head sculpt, paint applications, articulation, transformation, the effect piece for the sword I really like. The shield looks really good. Yeah, I don't really have anything to complain about. Like I said, the only thing I minor nitpick is the fact that the legs are a little wonky in the robot mode. But once you find a pose you like, he'll stand. But that's the only thing I really have to complain with. Also, he finally gave us a complete Macadam, and he looks great. So very happy I stuck through with the entire line on that one. But yeah, if you're having reservations about Thunderhowl, I definitely recommend picking him up because I think he's a lot of fun. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.